Hey FaB fam, here we are at the National Palace Museum in Taipei. This is one of the great museums in the world. It rivals the Metropolitan Museum of Art, it rivals the Louvre. It's got cultural artifacts from over 5,000 years of Chinese history, a lot of it from the Qing dynasty when China was at its peak. There's some criticism for the Taiwanese taking all of the artifacts from China to Taiwan, because that's kind of what they did to make this National Palace Museum. But, you know, there's a certain party that was going to destroy all of history and censor, you know, all the good things we've done, you know, in 5,000 years. So I have no problem with it. Anyways, we're going to go check it out. Philly, you want to say hi?
Hi!
Okay. Yeah, let's see what's inside. All right. Welcome to FaBled Hunters.
I'm Yuanji.
I'm Saint.
And today we're going to go over what happened last month.
What he said. Last month today!
Alright, so I don't think we are going to go over everything because it's been a while since we filmed.
Yep.
We are a little bit behind. But we wanted to go over some of the more important events that happened in the flesh and blood world.
Yeah, due to things happening in life in general for both of us, especially me with the trip abroad, we just wanted to put out some flesh and blood content because right around the corner and presumably immediately after this episode airs, the Pro Tour 2023 Flesh and Blood Pro Tour in Baltimore. It's going to be right around the corner. So we wanted to focus and catch everybody up on all the relevant Flesh and Blood content that has been happening throughout March, right? It's been March since the last time. Bless you. And much of the majority of April.
Yeah, so first thing at the very beginning of March, as you know, LSS has been kind of slowly expanding their global network.
Yep.
So they've been expanding, I think, recently to Brazil and then also to Japan.
Yep.
And so at the beginning of March, they announced a bunch of kind of like introductory events. There were some pretty cool prizes that you could win. Like I think they had an event where you could win a Favorite promo.
Okay.
The same one I think that they gave out before.
Yeah. Yep.
But also, if you sign up for Gem at one of these events, then you get like a 5-digit Gem account, which is kind of unheard of.
Wow.
It's like only for the people, I guess, who like started very early on originally.
Sure.
So that was pretty cool, I think, to see. I think in general...
This was Japan?
Yeah, in Japan.
Okay, only in Japan.
Yeah, and Japan's actually been making, I think, quite a lot of waves even in the secondary market. There's a lot of enthusiasm coming from that region for the game in general.
Absolutely, and this was verified by all the talks I had when I was over in Asia, specifically in Taiwan. They reflected that the Japanese market has a near insatiable demand, and that, again, is also reflected by the talks I've had in the high-end community and it being the administrator of multiple groups in the Flesh and Blood Facebook.
Yeah, and I think that I just wanted to talk a little bit about Japan's presence in other card games, most notably Magic.
Yep.
And I think it's quite interesting. I think usually for card games in general, I would say US is a pretty large market.
Yep.
But actually for like Magic, I think the biggest 3 regions that I know of for Magic were US, Europe, and Japan.
So Japan would be number 3.
I believe so, or like in the top. And they have a community that is very active and enthusiastic about card games in general.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool to see that Flesh and Blood is starting to make waves there.
Absolutely. Not only is it starting to make waves, I keep hearing of tunic deals happening in the mid 4 figures. Cold foil tunics that keep getting eaten up by supposed Japanese investment groups, and this has been verified by many sellers. No, there are literally investment groups in Japan, and I mean, even in my MTG dealing days, there were proxies. These investment groups got buyers who were Japanese and helped them import dual lands, and lotuses and all that other stuff. But their most desired asset in Japan was MTG Revised Dual Lands.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
The more you know. So, also they announced their kind of the rest of the organized play events that are going to happen from now until I think Q3.
Yeah.
So the
more to follow in Pro Tour, right?
Yeah, the major one is going to be there's going to be a calling in Singapore in June.
Yep.
Which I'm hoping to make it out there, but we'll see if it lines up well.
Fingers crossed.
But there's a bunch of battle hardens that are coming to Cincinnati, Chicago, Atlanta, Columbus, but also one in Hong Kong.
Okay.
So hopefully there will be more events, I think, for the international community. I've heard a lot of, not like criticism, but like a lot of people from other countries who want there to be like an organized play presence in their regions as well as just in the US.
Absolutely. And I think this is not at all a bad trade-off and a good move by LSS, because for there to have been 2 Pro Tours last year plus 1 World Championships, that was a bit much. That was a little too much travel, in my opinion. And I mean, one of them was right around the corner for us, right?
Yep.
And that means that people that weren't living in New Jersey or New York or the northeast of the US, they had to travel, presumably internationally up to 3 times. And that's a lot. But instead, now the trade-off is it seems like you're getting a lot more battle hardens, you're getting multiple more callings, and Flesh and Blood is basically sharing the love worldwide and spreading that prize money and those gold foils around, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping that 2023 OP season is very successful so that they'll continue to increase the amount of support and the number of events that they can run.
Sure.
I want to give a special shout out to, I think it's I don't know what the letters stand for, but AGE there's been a lot of talk about how a lot of the events because they're mostly run by Star City Games, are centered around the eastern coast / Midwest of America.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that since tournament organizers like Realm Games have gotten battle hardens, AGE does like a tournament circuit where they stream. I think they do a tournament every month or every other week. I don't know,
really?
It's bi-weekly or monthly.
Okay.
But I think they usually get similar numbers to some of the smaller battle hardens, like just under 100 people or 70 something people.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that they continue to get more support for their league that they're running, and hopefully LSS will recognize that and have some more events in the western half of the United States.
Yep. I did notice there were some complaints, some murmurs that it was a little too east side of the U.S. dominated, right?
Yeah.
So it would be nice to balance it out so everybody in the U.S. can easily access some of these notable events, right?
Yep. You and your friend Ben had participated in a LSS kind of run initiative called Collectors Week.
Oh yeah.
Which was a bunch of collector-driven articles.
Absolutely.
That focused on different aspects of collecting. And I think the biggest piece of news that came out of that week was that they released the print run numbers as well as the kind of the gold foil numbers.
Yeah.
And we talk about this at length in an episode of The Long Game on our Patreon.
For sure.
So if you want to get our detailed takes on it, then you should definitely consider subscribing. There's also a huge backlog of episodes that have to do with kind of the financial aspect of trading card games.
Absolutely, and you're also supporting this guy and his team, FaBled Runaways, who will hopefully take down some top prizes at the upcoming Pro Tour.
Yeah, but high level, what do you think about the print run numbers and the gold foil policy?
Okay, we'll do one at a time, but before we get into that, I just want to thank again the content creation team of Legend Story Studios for letting me and allowing Ben Keel to weigh in on our viewpoints on collectability within Flesh and Blood, because it's really important that we don't only focus on the monetary value of all these cards, although obviously there's a secondary market for these cards. It's important for those of us that just truly love the game and love the cards, love the art, that we get to show our take on it and encourage others to just simply collect for the love of the game. So it was great to contribute in that way. It was great to see my personal friend Matt Rogers, his writing on PCG. I was, very thankful to have a couple of my pieces featured within that article as well. But as a fan, as an enthusiast of Flesh and Blood, Collector's Week was just like Christmas come early, because first, to start with the gold foils, it just felt like there were all these naysayers that said that, oh, gold foils would get reprinted, gold foils aren't worth anything. And Yuanji, even you were like, oh, there's going to be a point where gold foils are worth more than gold foils, right? There was a point where you did say that, right?
I had said that.
You had said that, and it's okay. I'm not trying to, well, I am calling you out, but now that there's an established amount,
yeah,
and you can, well, not you, everybody worldwide can understand the scarcity scale and the disparity,
yeah,
then that very clearly delineates the gap between something you can dig up in a box,
yeah,
right? Diablo style, going and opening up boxes like a dungeon crawl,
yeah,
versus, the spoils of a Flesh and Blood champion, which is where the gold foils are sourced from.
Yeah,
right?
I think having the maximum number that they want to put in circulation is really helpful for everybody to accurately determine what they think their own personal value for these cards is.
Yep.
And then I think the other aspect of it that wasn't like explicitly said, but if you understood what the data that was being presented, is they had kind of like an appearance rate for all of the gold foils,
a drop rate,
which makes me believe that future gold foil packets will be much more randomized. It won't be like, oh, here's like the ProQuest,
of course,
and these are just like all the whatever.
And, yeah, and obviously for the calling winners and the major winners, I think you get either one of the Pro Tour cards, or you get the Crown of Providence, which is limited to 25. Right?
Yeah.
So other than the big prizes, which are set in stone, the smaller prizes, like the top 8 prizes, you get legendaries, all legendary packs, which now will be random drop, everything from Welcome to Wraith to Outsiders, the current set, right?
Yeah, if you were in the insider, or not insider, but like if you're like in the group of people who are like winning these legendary packs, there was a lot of like rumors or like speculation. So it's like, oh, there's gonna be like one from each set or like whatever. Yeah. And then so people, there's always this like little like mini game. It's like, oh, I don't want to open mine because like that person already opened like something from WTR or whatever. I think having the flat drop rates on it makes me have more confidence on each like individual like packet, that it's like, like a fair,
it's completely fair
shot.
It's completely transparent. You know how many copies are out there, and now everybody, especially the pro players, the ones who are out there competing, have the confidence to know that if they win, a mid-tier or major event, or if they top 8 at a big enough event, that their card, the legendaries, are limited to 40, right? 40 copies. There will not be more than 40 copies, and you'll know exactly how many copies. Like right now, a lot of them are pop 14 to pop 20 in terms of the legendaries, and some even fewer, especially for the new legendaries that are coming out with Outsiders.
Yeah. What do you think about the kind of the print run numbers that were released? Most notably, they released Welcome to Wraith Unlimited, Arcane Rising Unlimited, Crucible War Unlimited numbers, as well as the Tales of Aria first edition numbers, right?
TOA and Everfest. Yep. Well, first off, I'm surprised that they did not release Uprising, because my theory would be that it would be great to show, to have that juxtaposition between what I believe to be massive print numbers due to print to demand, on Uprising and Fab 2.0 in general, and contrast that with the much smaller print numbers, because the top end of the print numbers that were released was indicated by, or led by Everfest at, I think it was 209.
220?
It was 209, I thought. We actually have the numbers.
Let's check the receipts.
Let's check the receipts.
Everfest
229. Yes, 229.
Yeah, Welcome to Wraith was
248.
248.
Well, my assumptions, which showed up in Chadcast in the prior week, was that Welcome to Wraith was 275, and I felt 248 was right within range. That's like within effectively 10% of 275. I had overquoted the numbers for Arcane Rising. Arcane Rising was somewhere in the 180 range, right? And then Crucible of War Unlimited, that was a big surprise. I had quoted 180, I think Sloop Dupe quoted 150. Crucible of War was only printed 125,000 boxes, and as a result, I think Crew went through and is currently going through a buying frenzy where Arcanite Shards had shot up to Arcanite Shards Unlimited Rainbow Foil.
I feel like it's deja vu all over
shot up
again.
to like $700.
Don't you remember when Crucible of War was first announced out of print?
Yep.
And then the
boxes went up to like $800 or $900.
Yeah, we saw it's the same old song and dance.
Yep, again and again.
And I don't know. I think there's two things that are very interesting to me. And I think to your point about Uprising, I believe Uprising is technically still like in print.
In print, yep.
But the difference between the regular sets of a year and the supplemental sets of a year. So if the supplemental sets continue to sell worse than the regular sets, I wonder how long LSS is going to keep doing supplemental sets. And I believe I heard rumors that Dusk Till Dawn might be one of the last supplemental sets. I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I think if the actions follow the market data, I think that you can infer that supplemental sets in general sell like less quantity.
Okay.
So, I mean, like something to think about.
Well, so far we have what? We have Crew, which they printed less, so presumably less were sold.
Yeah,
right?
yep.
There was Everfest, where they printed a little too much for its time, right? And
yeah.
Word on the street is they even printed Unlimited, but it was never released.
Yeah,
right?
A lot of Everfest. You know, that's also like an interesting point that they printed Everfest. I think. Do you have a guess on Uprising final numbers, and then we'll hold this in posterity?
What do you mean? Uprising final numbers? Well, like you said, I think they're still printing, but I would say probably as of now, they're at 375,000 boxes.
Yeah, I was gonna say like if there are like expectations for Everfest is that it sells, I don't know, like 300K plus. If there was like unlimited printing plus like first edition, then surely like Uprising has to be higher than that.
Yeah, I think Uprising is such a popular set. It's more popular than anything that came before it.
Yep.
And that's going to drive demand for the first sets. But that's why, all of those print numbers that came out, I believe, are all on the low end. Because the highest printed number set would be Welcome to Wraith. If you combine both the first edition and Unlimited, you're at around 265,000 boxes, right?
Yeah, very, very interesting to kind of see how it all unfolds. As like a last little fun thing, I want us to try to do a prediction for the future. How many years do you think it would take for Flesh and Blood to hit a set where they print 1 million boxes?
Wow. 1 million boxes. Oof. I would say it would take... We'd have to have PvE, because, I'm never going to stop bitching about needing PvE.
Okay.
And after PvE releases, let's just call it 5 years, because we need PvE to release and then mature. Okay. And then we can sustain a 1 million box print run. I'm
gonna give LSS a friendlier guess. I'm gonna guess that within the next 3 years.
Really? Okay.
So, I don't know, it's just a fun little exercise.
It is.
Leave a comment as to what you think about the print run numbers or any of the other things that we talked about in this episode. If you have a guess for when you think Flesh and Blood might hit the 1 million box mark, leave that in the comments below.
Let us know.
Hey everyone, just wanted to let you know the details for entering our giveaway. Big shout out to White Rabbit for letting us extend a FaBled package to the community for battle-hardened Metropole Ruhr. So the FaBled package includes entry into the Super Armory, the Battle Hardened, as well as the PTI event. And you also get a special playmat. And so if you would like to apply to enter, please email fablehunters@gmail.com with just a brief description of why you got into Flesh and Blood and why you hope to be able to attend the event. We're going to be closing submissions and picking a winner in the first week of May, so good luck to everybody. Next topic, Outsiders came out and there was a lot of controversy, I would say.
There was a lot of there was a lot of unnecessary when the God boxes came out, because these few videos of people opening boxes, and the boxes had poor collation. There was, rainbow foil legendary after rainbow foil legendary. There was a lot. There was something like between 5 and 8 rainbow foil legendaries in some boxes, right?
I think the worst offender was, like one case had every single foil slot was a legendary. So
Really?
Like 60 something legendaries in the case.
Wow. Okay.
But I wanted, and I said this publicly, I think when everything was kind of going on, we live in a world where everything that happens, no matter like in what location of the world, how small it is, you can find out about it as soon as it happens because of the internet.
Of course.
And so part of the effect of that is that every time you get an anomaly like this happening, before the internet, it would just be like, maybe like you heard a rumor about it. Yeah. Somebody like...
And it would come out days later,
Yeah,
right?
Somebody like... Nothing for TCGs would like show up in the newspaper.
Absolutely.
But it just like things like this that you can't like necessarily see, it's hard to get a gauge on like the scale of things. And so obviously when you see, oh, this guy posted on Twitter, he opened a God case, that guy posted, 3 people posted that they opened God cases, and you're like, wow, this must be...
Every single case is a God case. Oh no, it's all going to 0.
Yeah, because like that's what social media does. Like it shows you like things that are the most viral, things that people click on the most, and it gives you
kind of gets the most attention in the short term.
It gives you like this like reinforcement effect where anomalies like pop up because they're the ones that most people want to talk about. And so, like, to put into perspective, LSS released an article where they did investigate, and these things take, like, at least a couple of days. I think they asked the...
I think it happened on a Thursday or Friday, and then throughout the weekend, everybody was clamoring. The torches and the pitchforks were coming out like, oh, LSS owes us an answer. It's like, guys, it's the weekend in New Zealand. Can you, like, give it a rest and... wait a couple days, right?
Yeah.
And then Monday morning.
Yeah, so they I guess did a investigation with Cardamundi, and they found that there was an error. So these things, I think their scale for it has to do with like printing time.
Yeah.
So there was
only for like half an hour or something.
Yeah, so there was an error, and then LSS has come out with the numbers where they said basically the scale of the error is that 0.4 to 0.8%. It's unclear. Yeah. But within that range.
Yeah. So
like more
between half to 1%, less than 1%.
Yeah. More legendaries and fables were inserted than intended,
and only rainbow foil, right? So I mean, if anything, first off, it's a nothing burger. But if anything, that just means that there really are inadvertent and unintentional God boxes and God cases. So you can go hunt for those pallets that will have that once in a while God box or God case, and that's like a lower than 1 in 100 drop rate. So that's actually great. I would think it's not too much, right? Not too little. They screwed up and they came out and they addressed it. They were transparent about it. If anything, it's a nothing burger compared to what happened years ago, if you remember, the Monarch boxes with the unlimited packs inside, the poor packaging by Monday.
Yes.
Right? Compared to that, like, this is nothing.
It was like the first edition outside box.
Exactly. The first edition cardboard box with the unlimited packs inside, and we taught people how to push in the box to check. And even that was also a small amount. these things happen. It's not going to be the first. It's not going to be the last time parties outside of Legend Story Studios' control, make a boo-boo, and this is just one of those cases.
I would just say for everybody who's involved, like, or everybody who followed this news, like, when it happened, just, like, I think the most important takeaway that I try to apply whenever I, like, read about these things is to just, like, take a step back and think about, like, try to put, like, some actual perspective on it. Like, how much does this actually affect everything? Is this a normal issue? Is this a outlier issue? You know? And these things, like you said, these things will happen. There will be mistakes that will be made.
It's not the first, not the last.
Yeah, but I hope that everybody kind of learns from this event, and just like maybe take things a little bit more moderation.
Are you telling people not to overreact from stimuli that they receive over the internet, Yuanji? How dare you?
Yes. Terrible. Last topic, you wanted to talk about your most recent trip to Taiwan, and you already released, I think, a pretty well-received video of this on the channel, but just like to keep everybody updated, what has been going on this past month with you?
There was the health quest, which I released this past month. I've just been working out 6 to 7 days a week, eating healthy, sleeping well, and just making sure that, schedule-wise, everything is on point. People very close to me told me that you should have an unlimited budget for your health, and I'm starting to really live my life like that, and it's gotten me in such a positive mindset, and it's actually benefiting me work-wise. But even more than just the health in Taiwan, it was such a great opportunity to go halfway across the world, meet and make content with people like Big B and Gaetan, and also I had a chance to interact with the leaders in the nation of Taiwan, the TCG leaders, and even
the president.
Oh, well, not the president. I did have a meal with the family of the Surgeon General, but that's a different story. So no, not the president, and I'm not actually a fan of the president. But that's also
that's for a different time.
Besides the point. What I did have a chance to do was meet the local community leaders. I actually also sat down with the top executive of the company, FaBled. I don't know if they have any info here. FaBled, right there. Got some cool giveaways from FaBled. Also opened a box and gave it to a Patreon, which we'll have in a separate episode. And also got 2 Fate Foreseen promos, one of which I actually gave as, on behalf of FaBled as a Flesh and Blood ambassador to one of the key local game stores that is very influential. They call him the grandfather or the godfather of Magic the Gathering in Taiwan. And gave him one of them. And the other one is at BGS right now. But I also wanted to announce that since FaBled paid it forward, we will be giving away this very copy, a 9 quad plus copy of Fate Foreseen in the near future. Undetermined. But it was just such a great opportunity to learn more about how local game stores, operated in Asia, in Taiwan, how Flesh and Blood was being received in Taiwan. And, there's a lot of information that I received in my discussions about how things were going in Hong Kong, how things were going in Singapore, the expectation of how big the game would be with the influence of Japan, right? And it was also great to sit down with FaBled and communicate what I had learned from the, greater Flesh and Blood community in Taiwan. That said, I also wanted to recognize that Yuanji and I, we've fallen a little behind on the giveaways. We've got about 3 or 4 rounds of giveaways, probably 4 or 5 if we include this gem right here.
Yeah.
And we will be catching up after the Pro Tour on our giveaways. We'll probably even make a whole giveaway episode, right? Because of the different giveaways and the different competitions and the different things different ideas that led to the giveaways that we're going to review. But for now, we're going to have to leave you guys because this guy has some practicing to do.
Yep.
Right?
Gotta try to win it for Team Runaways.
Yep.
So thank you so much for your continued support, and I think that's all for last month.
That's it, right? We'll see you in May. Hopefully this guy takes home a prize, a gold foil, 2, 3, 5, who knows? But that's it for now. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, twiddle that notification button, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Right, we are at the end of the exhibitions, and we saved the best for last. Gathering of treasures in the National Palace Museum, North and South. Wanted to feature one of the greatest artifacts of ancient China. I think this was said to be held in high regards by multiple emperors sitting in the Forbidden Palace of China. Here we have it, the one meat-shaped stone. I've verified with rather high net worth individuals in both Taipei and Beijing that there's an open bounty for this item at over $1 trillion US. Beautiful piece, looks like pork. The other treasure that we came to see, which is, I would say, more prominent, held in even higher regard, was the jadeite cabbage. Unfortunately, although we made the trip halfway across the world to come see it, the cabbage is exhibited in the southern branch in Jiayi during this time of the year. It is a beautiful piece, and I assure you there is a huge bounty on that piece as well, but it's in Jiayi.